Hey everyone, Jerry here, and today I'm playing a bit of Open Transport Tycoon Deluxe, or OpenTTD as it's called. You can get this game for free at OpenTTD.org, and what it is basically a rewrite or reinvention of the very old Transport Tycoon Deluxe from sometime in the 90s. I played this game as a kid. I absolutely loved it back then, even though I sucked major balls at it. And to this day, I'm still playing OpenTTD, like a bit on an on and off basis. But yeah, it's a good game. It's a solid game. It's survived the test of time. So I'm gonna start a brand new game here. I'm gonna set it on medium difficulty. At the moment, I do not have any of the custom AIs installed, so there probably won't be AI opponents in the game. That doesn't prevent me from having fun, though. I mean, this game is very much a sandbox game. There's not a lot of challenge to it, in that once you start getting like one or two good train routes in, you have all the money you need to expand, and the challenge then comes from actually it comes from building up your empire, making these, as you see in the background here, really advanced sets of train tracks interlinking with each other, the ability to like transport goods across the map by branching in and out of your existing train system and such. That's the real beauty of the game. So it's more like a digital version of like a train hobby trains thing, more than an actual challenging game. Anyway, that's enough of me rambling for now. Let's get started with the actual game. So I generally play on the default world type here. The old Transport Tycoon Deluxe introduced these extra world types over the normal Transport Tycoon, where you have the icy, mountainy regions here, you have the desert where water is a valuable trading resource, and you have Candyland, where you pick up bubbles from the bubble factory and bring to the fizzy drink machines and such. It's very goofy. It gets really annoying to look at after a while, but it's a good laugh. But yeah, let's go with the default one here. Starting date 1950, low number of resources, smoothness. Let's make it a bit smooth, just to make it more pleasant to look at. Waters, yeah, let's freeform there. Tree algorithm improved. Variety distribution, yeah, let's get a bit of variety in here. And random master seed a couple of times. Generate. Okay, now as you can see, this is what the game looks like in 1950. Zooming all the way out here, you can see tons of small towns all over the place. Actually, a lot of small towns all over the place. And then of course the slightly bigger cities like these. Now, in general, I don't get into passenger traffic very early because it's not as profitable in the early game. Once you start getting tons of passengers, or alternatively use airplanes, then you start seeing some much higher profit margins. But yeah, my preferred start is still with industry. So that's what we're gonna do. A good way to start would be to look here at the industry list. So if we sort by production, because if we can find like a farm or something that produces a lot of stuff, then it's a lot easier for us to transport it away, because they have the stuff to transport, oddly enough. So you see Nutwood Farm here, right outside the town. Slightly strange location, really. I should probably have said town district. Actually, I'm just quickly gonna restart because there are way too many towns on this map. So number of towns, I'll set it to very low. Yeah, basically it's to do with the difficulty setting I set. Medium apparently means normal amount of towns, but I'm gonna go with very low because I like my towns to be small and far in between. That way passenger traffic automatically becomes a lot more profitable. So yeah, the main thing is that longer distance means more money. Shorter transport time means more money as well. So if we continue like we did before. Sort by production. Scroll all the way down here. See, Princeton Farm, this one here. It has a very nice bit of production. And there's actually a factory right there. Now this distance is not actually that suitable, but it does have a bunch of other farms nearby, which decent. Not decent. Okay, let's just have a look again. These windows quickly end up cluttering the screen completely. This one produces the same amount. And if we look at the map here, industries, we can see, okay, this farm we're looking at is the pink one here. This is probably very hard to see on the YouTube video, but factories have a slight purple tinge. So the nearest factory would be this one all the way over here. That's not too, that's a bit long for our first train tracks. Especially with these rivers in between, but I reckon it's actually doable. We have the option of borrowing up to, yeah, we can borrow another 50,000. So yeah, I reckon we should do this. So that's what it does do, yeah. So I'm just gonna put these over here, pin them for a moment, then we have an easy way to move the camera between them. Now, rail tracks. You choose the rail station orientation, and then the main thing is placing it close enough to your... Can't place that one past. Okay. The main thing is placing it close enough to the thing here so it actually starts supplying stuff. And in the other end, of course, placing a station close enough to this one so it can actually pick up the stuff. As you can see here on in the middle of what the set it accepts. Factories, if we just click on this, yeah, we have it there. Requires livestock, grain, steel, and this one produces grain and livestock, so that's a pretty sweet matchup. To start with, I generally just build one track here. That's a lot cheaper. We need to cross this river here. Let's build a nice little steel bridge here. We're gonna have to cross this river over here as well. I'm just gonna bring the track down here for a bit. You might be wondering why I immediately build my stations too wide. That has everything to do with the future. There we go. Basically, a farm with this production here needs about 3 or 4 trains to actually pick up all of it. With 3 trains, there's going to be 1 in transit at all times, meaning that it's enough with two lanes on the station. But I also built all the stations so that there's room for expansion on them, in case that we actually end up having like a lot of production. For the station here at the factory, I made sure to have plenty of room as well, because eventually, once we start delivering goods to this factory, it'll start, or delivering livestock and grain, it'll start producing goods. And those goods we can, for instance, sell in this town here, thus creating a slightly longer chain of transport. So, if we take this one here, there we go, we have connected rails now. That had to cough. So, now that we have this basic train station here, we can actually start putting in a train. So we put a station, or a depot here, in this end, and we can actually start building the train already. Let's go with the Ginsu here. It's a nice, powerful train. You can see the just various stats on it here. Power, 1200 horsepower. So it's the strongest of the ones we have, and yeah, the more we can carry, the more each train will make on this journey. And travel time is really the big issue here. It'll take the train quite a while to reach from station here all the way to the thing here, so we want it to actually be worth the trip. So to avoid it just going there and checking, there's nothing to pick up, I'll go. We have to set it on full load here, and I'm gonna say full load all cargo. Now this farm here produces a bit more grain than livestock, and these carts here can also take a bit more grain. As you can see, the livestock here is 25 tons, whereas the grain hopper is 30 tons, so It fits very well with about one of each, or 1-to-1 ratio of each. As production changes on the farm here, we might need to either put into more trains with the same setup or put into more trains which focuses more on one of the goods. But we'll see about that when we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Okay, so if we put this train over here and close these auto windows here. Now, the farm here won't start delivering any goods to our train station here until it realizes that we're actually going to deliver its goods somewhere. So now that the train has actually docked here to pick up goods, I'll have to focus on saying grain and livestock here because goods is a completely different thing. So once it starts picking up stuff, or has told the farm that it wants to pick up the stuff, you can see it filling up here in the train overview, and you can also see it slightly here on the actual game screen. Now you might be wondering why the hell are there no trees anywhere. That's because I have the trees disabled here because they're quite annoying sometimes to look at. I can keep them on for a bit now. There are not too many of them right where our tracks are, so yeah, let's keep them on for a bit. Okay, as you can see now, the train is nearly full. It's just lacking 2 cows. There we go. So the train will turn around. It can magically turn around on the station. Later on, once we start getting a big network of railways, we will want to actually have the trains only going through the station one way, because then we'll avoid a lot of traffic jams here at the entrance. So, but that's again out in the future. For now, we're just gonna follow this train here. I'm gonna move these down here so you can see it. I mean, a big part of the pleasure of this game is a bit like SimCity. You need to be happy about watching like how all the little things, how every little cog in your machine is working together to do something greater than the sum of its parts kind of thing. So again, this is a very simple train route. We don't have any train signals or whatever on it. That's gonna be the next step. Once we start actually making some money from this, we're gonna add in another track, so we have one-way tracks all the way along the line. And of course, train has to break the breakdown, which is actually a pretty good segue for me to go over here and start placing a train depot. Now I'm gonna do this quickly and have trains going like that, because I generally like my trains to ride in the to go in the right hand side of the dual tracks that I lay. So if we go to the orders for this one and tell it to go to the depot here as well after it's delivered its goods, that way we won't delay the next delivery of stuff. So basically, it picks up stuff, goes over here, sells it, then goes in there for service, and then it starts the trip over again. What I might actually do is put a depot over here as well, so it's actually serviced twice, just because this is a rather long stretch, and if we can avoid it breaking down on the way, we'll make more money in the end. So, train has arrived, it's unloading. 60, 63, 45, 27, 9, and catching 16,600 something. So yeah, that's a pretty good first line. As you can see here, so far property maintenance and train running costs have amounted to about 1,600. Loan interest and other, they're the kind of stuff that we need to pay anyway. But if we look apart from construction and new vehicles, which they're really one-time expenses more or less, then this train is actually making us a nice bit of profit. So with this train going in for service here, I think that's a good time to call this an episode. Hopefully you guys like the series. If you do, then by all means please hit the like button and or write a comment. That way I know that you guys will want to see more of it, and it'll make me all the more happier to do more. Easy as that. So until next time, this is Jerry signing out.